Hey guys, today I'm going to be talking about Season 3 of Bridgerton. So, before I head into my thoughts and feelings on Season 3 of Bridgerton, there's most likely going to be some spoilers in this video. I'm probably not going to be spoiling everything, I don't think, but there's still bound to be some spoilers popping up. We're 3 seasons deep into this show, and it's kind of impossible at this point to just talk about it randomly without getting into the down and dirty. So, the Colin and Penelope season. Yes, I think we've all been looking forward to this season. So, the interesting thing that Netflix decided to do with this particular season, they decided to split it up. We got 4 in May, we got 4 in June. So, I kind of liked the approach. I know there's a lot of people who don't like when Netflix kind of splits the shows up like this, because I know they did it to the last season of Stranger Things and they did it to the last season of The Witcher, and I'm okay with Netflix doing these splits because it lets a season linger out a little bit longer. It gives you that anticipation, because once you binge a show, that's just it. You binge it, you're done, it's over, and you don't have anything to look forward to for that show. You know what I mean? So I kind of like the split technique that Netflix is going for, because we got to hang out in the world of Bridgerton for a wee bit longer, because I think the next season it's going to probably be another year, 2 years until we get the next season, unless they decide to do another spin-off show in between, like they did with Queen Charlotte in between season 2 and 3. Hey, seriously, I would love another season of Queen Charlotte. Give it to me, please. So I definitely have a few little minor issues with this season. Let me start with the good. I definitely loved the last half of the season. I think the last 4 episodes really picked up the pacing, and I think the plotting and narrative, the characters, everything was just much more tightly focused and a lot more interesting. But boy, oh boy, I kind of had a bit of a rough time, to be honest, with the first 4 episodes. Not that they were necessarily bad, but I did feel like the first 4 episodes were a little bit sluggish in places, and it felt like they were trying to just draw stuff out, because they knew there was going to be this split, between episode 4 and 5, that there was going to be this split, and it's like they had to drag out certain things in the first 4 episodes before we could get to the last 4. It's like episode 4 had to hit a particular beat, if you will. So it kind of made the first 4 episodes just kind of weirdly paced and a little bit sluggish. And the thing too with the first 4 episodes, we were just treading incredibly familiar territory, if you will. And I think that's kind of the unfortunate thing that we're going to probably expect with Bridgerton from here on out. Bridgerton has a formula. This is the type of series that has a very standard formula, and it's not really going to break from that formula, if that makes any sort of sense. Because the formula of this show is that every season focuses on a different couple, so every season we have to kind of reestablish that particular relationship and those particular characters, and we're hitting kind of some of those same beats over and over, that there's tension and anxiety and sexual tension between the couple, and we have to go to all the fancy parties and the fancy balls and this and that. It's all very repetitive in some ways in the first 4 episodes. Once again, not that it's necessarily bad, but it causes the first half of the season to feel a certain way, because you're anticipating and looking forward to all the craziness that's going to happen later, that is going to happen because it's Bridgerton. So I did. The first 4 episodes, once again, not that they were bad, let me repeat, not that they were bad, but I was just really anxious to just get this thing rolling, get it rolling. It did. It just felt very repetitive and monotonous almost to the other seasons. And as I said as well, those last 4 episodes, whew, yeah, definitely the highlight of the season for sure. You just got to get past those first 4. The last 4, you get all the really good juicy stuff going on between Colin and Penelope, because things finally get official between them. And yeah, everything with the threats of the Lady Whistledown identity, because we all know it's Penelope, obviously. So I loved that extended threat that was present in the concluding episodes. That was really unexpected. You know, out of everything that is pretty expected of this show, the threat of the Whistledown reveal is the most unexpected and the most interesting and the most compelling. And I liked how certain characters kind of weaved into that. And yeah, the whole conflict and drama of Penelope, like, okay, I want I want to keep writing. That's my passion. That's my desire. But I also love Colin. I want to get married to him, but I don't want him to make me stop writing, you know. Yeah, just so much going on, you know, with the whole Whistledown reveal. And yeah, like how Eloise feels about it, how Colin feels about it later once he gets the big reveal, you know. Shocking. And yet Cressida, you know, Cressida's one of those characters that's always on the periphery of the show. And I loved how Cressida worked into the Lady Whistledown plot. That was totally unexpected. I loved it. Now, let me get into another kind of small issue I had with the season as well. I love Colin and Penelope. Okay, let me start there. I adore Colin and Penelope. They're probably the most realistic. They're probably the most realistic relationship on this show, it seems at times. And they're the most normal. You know, that's kind of just it. I feel like Colin and Penelope are the most just casual and the most normal. And I adore them to bits. Here's the thing, though. I feel like in the prior 2 seasons, Colin and Penelope had way more chemistry. Is it just me? I sometimes watching their scenes, it was a little up and down for me. Sometimes I felt like they had really great chemistry, but then other times there was just something that felt a little awkward at times, and I don't know if it was just me or if I was kind of getting something off of them that they themselves, the actors, felt almost a little awkward, you know. I honestly don't know, because like I said, I really feel like their chemistry was way better in previous seasons. I don't know if it's a case of because we've been wanting Colin and Penelope to get together for so long, and now that we finally have them together, it's almost not as exciting. You know, there's that kind of there's that familiar thing you always hear about when you're watching like movies and television, that especially television, that if a couple over many seasons, it takes them forever to finally get together over many seasons, and then they do finally get together, and all of a sudden they're kind of boring. And that's kind of what I felt about Colin and Penelope, unfortunately, that it's like, oh yay, they're finally together, I was so happy and excited, but then it kind of turns into this thing of, well, now I'm a little bored. And there's just something off about their chemistry. I couldn't figure out what it was, honestly. And once again, maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me feeling that way, that there was something a little off about their chemistry. And the actress who plays Penelope, Nicola Conlon, I mean, she was amazing, as always. I definitely did not have a single issue with her performance. I think her performance was absolutely stunning and beautiful, and it was just so raw and honest and open, because Penelope is a normal, average woman. She looks like the rest of us. Let's be real. You know, everybody else on Bridgerton is super hot and sexy and skinny, and Nicola Conlon, she is normal. And I love that. She is a breath of fresh air on this show, and I love just. I really love, just like I said, the rawness and the openness, the honesty of her performance with Penelope this season. And yeah, she takes off her clothes just like all the other women do this season, and I think that was really brave and courageous of her to do such a thing, and I really admired her for doing such a thing when she didn't have to, you know. Now, Luke Newton, you guys, I'm a little conflicted about Luke Newton's performance. Once again, maybe it's just him. Maybe it's just his acting that I was having an issue with why I was feeling awkward, because like Penelope's her performance, Nicola Conlon's performance, I don't think I was getting that awkwardness from her, but I was getting awkwardness from Luke Newton for some reason with his performance. I don't know. And you know, this is the Colin and Penelope season, but why did it still feel like Colin was underused in his own season? That just felt so bizarre to me, because it's like Colin was present, obviously. Colin was definitely present, but at the same time, I still feel like he was kind of boring. Is it just the fact that he's not the most interesting Bridgerton Is that the problem? There's other more interesting Bridgertons. I mean, for God's sake, Benedict is far more interesting. Antony is far more interesting. Daphne, uh, I almost thought Francesca was going to be a little boring this season, but I was really pleasantly surprised with Francesca. So I found even Francesca way more interesting than Colin. And yet, even like little Hyacinth and Gregory, you guys, they barely do anything on this show, but when they pop up, they have really interesting, fun things to do. So I do. Why was poor Colin kind of dull and boring this season? Once again, maybe it's just me. Okay, so I'm just going to run down a bunch of characters very, very quickly here because I just wrote a bunch of random notes, afraid that I was going to forget things. Yeah, I really enjoyed the Penelope and Eloise conflict, especially this season, because even though it is the Colin and Penelope season, the thing is, I feel like we also got just a lot of really good resolution to Penelope and Eloise. Eloise found out about Penelope as Lady Whistledown last season, and she felt hurt and betrayed. Her trust felt broken. It's like, you're my best friend, and this is what has happened. You have hurt me. You have hurt my family. You have hurt other people. So I love that resolution of the conflict between Penelope and Eloise this season. I was like, yay! It's like, seriously, Penelope and Eloise almost have way more chemistry than Penelope and Colin do. Weirdly. Benedict, really quickly. I got a kick out of Benedict this season, but because Benedict is usually kind of one of those characters. He's usually on the periphery. He's kind of off doing his own thing, living his best bachelor life, if you will. So he's still living his best bachelor life this season. But I like that we got a little bit of deeper exploration there, because I've always wondered about his sexuality, because it seems like all of the Bridgertons, for the most part, except for a couple of them, we'll talk about Francesca here, but it seems like for the most part all of them are straight. And I like the exploration of Bendic's sexuality, that it seems like for the most part he finds women attractive, but it's like he was like really into the idea of, ooh, let me try it out with some guys. And it seems like he liked it. So I love that whole thing with Benedict. That was really fun and different, and once again, him being far more interesting than poor Colin. Moving on to Francesca and Lord Kilmartin. In the first 4 episodes, because like I said, the first 4 episodes I had a rough time with. The first 4 episodes with Francesca and Lord Kilmartin, seriously, I did not care. I honestly did not care. I thought they were just really dull and boring. I was like, what's going on here? Why are we getting another romance? This is supposed to be the Colin and Penelope season. Why are we getting another romance in here? But the last half of the season, when we got more with Francesca and Lord Kilmartin, that really kind of turned me around. Thank God. I really liked them. They were just so cute and so sweet and innocent, they can just sit in a room. They don't even need to have conversation. They're just so comfortable in each other's space, and I love that, and I appreciated that, because that's kind of the type of person I am too. I'm not someone who's really big into like talking. I'm someone, I prefer to listen to conversations. So I appreciated just those quiet, nice little moments between Francesca and Lord Kilmartin, because you don't have to always have wild and crazy just conversation going on just for the sake of it. And is Francesca supposed to be bisexual as well? I was a little kind of confused about those details as well, because it seemed like she finally, her and Lord Kilmartin did get married there at the end, but then there seemed to be this look of like discontent that passed on her face. And then when she met the one lady at the very end of the season who was like his cousin, Michaela, it seemed like when she met her, like all of a sudden there seemed to be like this spark of interest and intrigue and confusion, so I'm kind of curious about that now. Is Francesca supposed to be bisexual? Yeah. Is Benedict bisexual? What do we call all these people now? Violet, you guys, Lady Violet. I always love Lady Violet. The poor woman, she needs some love too. I loved the whole thing with her and Marcus Anderson. Yes, I hope that gets developed in further seasons. I would really love to see Violet with Marcus Anderson. They're just too cute for words. Talking about Cressida very quickly. I usually find Cressida very irritating any given season, even though, once again, she's on the periphery, but she always finds ways to be very irritating. But I found Cressida, especially in the last half of the season, to be very, very intriguing, because she's just a young woman in this world, a world that's forcing her to get married and pop out children, and yeah, things happen, and she's going to be forced to marry this old guy who wants to keep her in a box. And as we see, Cressida is really vibrant and colorful. She likes to gossip. So yeah, when Queen Charlotte later has that whole thing with the money for who can give me whoever Lady Whistledown is, of course Cressida's like, well, hell, I'm going to say I'm Lady Whistledown. I'll get the money. But it backfires. It backfires so terribly on poor Cressida, and she has such a horrible, unhappy ending. I'm very curious if we're going to see Cressida again, or if that's just it. This is the end of her story. She doesn't get a happy ending like all the other characters do. We did get a bit of Kate and Antony this season, thank God. They were only in a small handful of episodes, but the small handful they were in, the small handful of scenes, they always just sparked and shined with one another. And again, this is the Colin and Penelope season, but there was just something almost kind of weirdly lacking between Colin and Penelope. So why is it that Kate and Antony pop up and their chemistry is just insane? It's on fire. I enjoyed their small sequences better than Colin and Penelope sometimes. And we do find out that Kate is pregnant by the end of the season, and it sounds like her and Antony took off back to India to spend a little bit of time in India. It seems like Violet's going to be in charge of the Bridgertons for the time being, and Antony will come back in due time to deal with the rest of his responsibilities. As usual, the Featherington family are hilarious. I love their dynamic, their quirkiness, the way they dress is always hilarious. Just the vibrant colors that clash with everything else. The Featheringtons are hilarious. I love Penelope's mother. I love those moments where Penelope and her mother really finally got to talk. Like, really talk. Because in past seasons, Lady Featherington is always really dismissive, I think, of Penelope. And I like those really soft, small moments with her and Penelope, that where they finally get to truly talk and truly get to understand each other. And yeah, like where her mother's coming from, and why she kind of treats her daughters like the way that she is. She needs to get them married off, and yeah, her two sisters, oh god, they're the stupidest little things, the poor things. they just don't know what the hell's going on half the time. Poor girls, but they're married, they're pregnant, but they still have nice happy endings. I'm glad. Lady Danbury and Queen Charlotte, they are always fun. One of my favorite sequences between them this season was in the second half, where they had that little chess match, and Queen Charlotte is kind of irritated with how Lady Danbury's playing the game. Like, you want this game to be over fast? What's wrong with you? Yeah, I love Lady Danbury and Queen Charlotte. And yeah, Lady Danbury's story this season too, with her brother Marcus coming back into the equation, and yeah, they hash out some things. And I'm trying to remember in Queen Charlotte, was Lady Danbury's was Marcus in Queen Charlotte, or am I thinking of Queen Charlotte's brother? I honestly can't remember who I am thinking of, whose brother I am thinking of, but I can't remember if Marcus was in Queen Charlotte at all. But yeah, that's why I would love to have another season of Queen Charlotte, because I mean, there's still a lot more exploration here with Lady Danbury and her brother, that could be explored. And yeah, Queen Charlotte, yeah, she is determined to find out the identity of Lady Whistledown this season. She just pulls out all the stops. She takes no shit from anyone. I just love Queen Charlotte. And I like how she figures out, like, it seems like it's all about the Bridgertons. She just kind of narrows it down. She is very suspicious. So yeah, when Penelope finally reveals herself, I don't think it's too much of a shock in some ways. I think she kind of figured it had to be someone close to the Bridgertons, and Penelope made the most obvious sense. So that's pretty much it for my thoughts and feelings on season 3 of Bridgerton. Not one of my favorite seasons, but again, not a terrible season by any means. My favorite season is still season 2 with Kate and Antony. That is far and away my favorite season. And then, seriously, Queen Charlotte. The Queen Charlotte season right under that, and then probably Simon and Daphne season. And yeah, something has to go at the bottom, and yeah, the Colin Penelope season goes at the bottom, unfortunately. Again, not a bad season, but compared to like the previous seasons, where just certain things were kind of going on and more things of interest, and the pace felt more at ease. But yeah, still a fine season. In either way, I am still highly looking forward to season 4, because it's going to be a while. So you guys, that's it for my thoughts and feelings on season 3 of Bridgerton. In the comments below, have you guys enjoyed this season, or did you hate it? Let me know. So that's it for this review. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like this video, you may like these other videos. Bye guys.